Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing MotoGP 21. Now let me tell you guys, I am loving MotoGP right now. From the real life sport to the video game, I am so into it right now that I am just loving everything about MotoGP. So I was flicking around, I've been doing a lot of races by myself, just chilling and enjoying the game and just having some fun with MotoGP 21, because MotoGP 22 is right around the corner and I cannot wait. I'm seeing other YouTubers play it early, and I'm seeing preview builds, and I'm seeing so much more content being made from the 22nd installment of MotoGP, and I really want to get my hands on it. So I've been sticking with MotoGP 21, just enjoying it, having a good time with it, and also improving one's skills, because when 22 comes out, I need to be ready, and I need to be prepared to make sure I can make some very, very high quality content. So today, the goal is to tackle the best time I possibly can muster up with Jorge Lorenzo's Yamaha from 2010, right here in the Czech Republican Grand Prix of Brno. Now, the Czech GP is a track that I kind of miss, to be quite honest with you. I miss playing it in the game, and of course even watching it on television. The last time we seen MotoGP here in this part of the world was Brad Binder taking the victory from Franco Morbidelli and Johan Zarco after he punted off Pol Espargaro into turn 1 and then completing the long lap penalty, and that may have been the introductory season of the long lap penalty, maybe the inaugural year. But for now, we're going to be focusing on just doing the best lap times we can possibly do. I'm running the real electronics, but I have turned them both off, so TCS is on 1 and anti-wheelie is on 1, which is effectively turning them off. Power setting 3 obviously applied because we need to make sure we got the max amount of power and speed to tackle this Czech Grand Prix. But going into the penultimate corner now, this is the corner that's going to give me trouble, it always does. So we'll see how we fare into that second corner, or second to last corner should I say, and let's start our proper full-time attack. So across the line we will go, we're going to get a 1:54.5. I think we can do much better than that, so let's see what we can produce. Banker lap complete, and now it's time to enter the right-hander for turn 1 in a smooth style fashion, just like Jorge Lorenzo is in real life. Of course, we now chuck it to the left-hand side for the second corner. Hopefully we can keep ahead of the Ghost. Doesn't look like we're going to make it there. We did do a lot better on the previous lap, but that is something we're going to have to just continue to tweak as we go through this session. But onto the left-hand side now for the third corner. Chuck it onto the right-hand side. Keep it nice and tight to the apex. Going to drop it to second gear, possibly even drop it to first there. I'll try that maybe even on the second lap, or the next lap rather, as we now go firm on the brakes. Looking like we've got that one stuck. Very nicely done actually, as we go on the right hand side, upshifting to second there, just to give us a bit more of a boost coming out of the right hand. And of course, using so much power in the first gear is not going to be wise. You're going to be slipping and sliding the rear of that Yamaha all over the place, which I do believe was the Bridgestone tyres at this point. So on the left hand side, keeping it nice and tight to the apex. It's a bit too tight, kind of too tight, because we were literally stuck on the rumble strip at that point then. But now bringing on the power. Be careful of the wheelie, because of course anti-wheelie is disabled. We should have a good chance of getting into the right hand here, the Kevin Schwantz corner, keeping it nice and tight, not as tight as I would have wanted to. You can see the deeper, darker racing lines in the track there. That's where all the other rides, of course, are chucking the rubber down. As we now go on the left-hand side, chucking the rear brake on there as well. You see how the rear tyre just slipped and skidded, trying to position itself in the best way possible. But we managed to get it there, and we are up by 1/10 of a second. There is the wheelie I spoke about earlier. May have to consider increasing the anti-wheelie up to 2, but I'd rather go without, to be quite honest with you, because I'm so used to not running the electronics now since I've changed things for these bikes. But bringing on the power now, bringing on the acceleration, across the line we will go. We have improved the lap time to a 1:53.653. Now guys, if you're going to be purchasing MotoGP 22, let me know in the comment section down below, and also consider subscribing, because I personally will be having a lot of MotoGP 22 content coming very, very soon, so stick around for now. But of course, if you're looking for a challenge and something to do before the 22nd installment of MotoGP comes out, then I highly recommend you stick around and watch the rest of this video, because we're going to have some seriously fast-paced lap times coming in towards the end of the video. We'll be taking a look at the leaderboard to see where I position myself on the PC leaderboards, and then of course from there you guys can challenge my lap time and see if you can beat me with Jorge Lorenzo's 2010 Fiat Yamaha right here in the Czech Republican Grand Prix of Brno. So now into the left-hand side for the stadium section. There is the long lap penalty we made mention to earlier, as we now bring on the power for the very difficult left-hander. You can see us getting too much wheelie going into the left-hander for turn 8. Still relatively neck and neck with the Ghost. We're not quite ahead and we're not that far behind. Because do not forget, we are maybe losing 0.2 of a second now, but we lost so much time on the previous lap on the rise and up the horsepower hill. From there, we lost so much time due to a wheelie. So if we don't have the same wheelie, then we should be improving this lap time. We lost a little bit more time there going into the Kevin Schwantz corner, but onto the left-hand side without snapping the rear tyre in place this time, looking a lot more in control. We go to the right-hand side, keeping it really tight to the apex there. Can we avoid the wheelie? You see a little bit of a wheelie there, and we're still fighting the motorcycle, but we managed to push the front end down, brake extremely firm for the penultimate corner of Horizon, and then get to the right-hand side. You've got to position yourself in the right way possible to then bring on enough power to get across the line in a good spot. Now, we won't be improving the lap time, and I think I've exhausted my chances with a medium tyre, so let's swap over to the soft front and see if this will make a big difference. Now, in past, I do always prefer the medium front and medium rear combination. It's something that always works tremendously well for me in MotoGP, but I would like to give the soft option front a try. I don't think the hard option will be a good idea, but we can try it if I really fancy it, or I may return back to the medium for a bit of comparison to the soft front. But for the time being, we are up by 0.1 of a second into the left-hander for turn 3, still looking very, very promising here as we actually gained 2.5 of a second with the soft front. Now, the soft front could be the game changer, or it could just be a simple case that I'm feeling a little bit more confident and a little bit more aggressive with the front tyre compared to the medium that we just used. Now, the downfall with the soft that is we're probably going to get a little bit too much temperature in that front as the time trial continues, as we go into corners deeper and deeper, as we go later on the brakes. We'll have to pay attention on that for now, but if needs be, we'll restart the lap and we'll get a fresh soft option front. But onto the right hand side now for the 9th corner, we are up by 6.5 of a second. Bear in mind, that last lap we still had the wheelie going into the horsepower hill. If we can avoid that and get the Kevin Schwantz corner done correctly here, we could be looking at possibly a second quicker. Maybe not a full second because we lost a little bit of time there into the Schwantz corner, but we are still going to be improving nonetheless. We tackled turn 11 pretty well there as we now chuck it onto the right hand side for turn 12. Very tight to the apex there. Don't go any tighter than that because you will invalidate the lap, or worse, you may even crash. But onto the brakes we'll go for the penultimate corner. This is a difficult corner to get right, and I don't think I went in there with the most amount of confidence. The front tyre is beginning to glow. I tell you what, this might be worthwhile to just get across the line here, reset and have a fresh tyre as we get across the line for the next lap time. So we did indeed improve the lap time. It was a 1:53.342, which is a very solid lap time, and we're getting closer to the next increment of seconds, which would be the 1:52. If we can get a 1:52 at the end of this video, I'll be a very happy man. It's been a while since I last jumped on these 800cc MotoGP machines, so I do feel really good on it. I feel really confident with this Yamaha, and I'm really enjoying this experience so far as we get a little bit out of shape there going into the 3rd corner. That is not going to improve anything as we lost probably as high as around 0.4 of a second, 3.5. Now, in the past, I have said many times before, just because you make one mistake doesn't mean you should just give up on the lap time. I'm going to continue to push on this one and see what happens. Now that the fear of losing the lap time is already gone, let's just push as hard as we want. Let's just push until we crash. Let's see what we can produce on this lap time, because in the past, my best lap times have come after I've done a mistake, because that sort of fear, that realisation of, oh, I'm not going to improve the lap time here, actually gives you the confidence to really try something that you may not try before. So let's see what we can produce here. Going into the 9th corner, yes, we're way down here, 0.6 of a second. It doesn't look like we're going to improve, but you never know. You never know, we might be able to conjure up something absolutely amazing as we now brake very early for the Kevin Schwantz corner, going for that tighter apex, not quite as tight as I would have wanted to, but it has improved a little bit of time. We've gained around 0.3 of a second already to the Ghost ahead of us. Braking very firm for the left-hander there. You see the left-hand side of the soft front is absolutely screaming red, and unfortunately, we aren't going to be able to claw back that amount of time. It was worth a try though. We're on a very fast lap nonetheless. It's still going to be in the 1:53s if I can muster up a little bit more time going into the right-hander here. So into 14 we'll go, bring on the power. I hope I stay within the 153s because I'm a sucker for consistency and I like to stay in the same remit, and we do actually get a 153.894. Not a bad lap, any shape or form. I considered swapping back over to the fresh soft, but I'll tell you what, let's just keep on going. Let's keep the momentum going. That's something I didn't do on the previous lap time, which I probably should have done in hindsight, but hey ho, it is what it is. Breaking into turn 3 now, not making the same mistake. That is much more improved. The Fiat Yamaha handles extremely well, and it looks pretty solid going into the third corner. Running it a little bit too deep for turn 4. We are going to lose a little bit of time to the Ghost, but I'm pretty confident on the brakes here for the fifth corner as we now chuck it into the right-hander. Really tight to the apex there. Let's chuck on some more power. The soft front is not liking this experience right now. It is getting pushed beyond its limits here. We could end up making a mistake here if I'm not too careful, but I'm still kind of on the limits and also on the precipice of pushing a bit too much, but we'll see how it goes. Turn 8 has been tackled, turn 9 nice and tight to the apex here, and then slowly bring on the power. Bring it on too quickly and you'll just lift the front wheel up. We're trying to avoid that, and now into the Schwantz corner with a lot of front power on the brakes. Ooh, a little bit out of shape. The front tyre is screaming. Look at the right hand side of the front. Yep, it's not liking this experience whatsoever. Maybe we'll swap back over to the mediums and then give it a proper try, but for now we're still on it. We're still on it, 100%. We still could have a chance of actually improving it. As we, a little bit too much acceleration was being applied there for the rear tyre. You've seen it slip ever so slightly, but now onto the brakes near the Monster Energy sign. Are we going to be tight enough on the brakes? It looks like we're going to run it a little bit too deep, looking like Lorenzo versus Pedrosa 2012 here in Brno, as we got too tight to the apex and it invalidated the lap. So let's swap back over to the medium tyres, because I think with that experience of the soft, it's going to give me a bit more confidence and momentum with the medium. So let's see what we can produce now. Into the first corner for turn 1 we'll go. To the right hand side, smooth on acceleration. You see me dipping it ever so slightly there, just trying to get the right amount of acceleration without pushing it too much or too less. Power setting 3 is still applied, of course, makes sense, as we now go very firm on the brakes. That doesn't look like Lorenzo at all. Lorenzo's probably the smoothest rider I've ever seen in the MotoGP Grand Prix paddock, and yet we were looking more like Marc Marquez there on the brakes, or even top-rack Razgatlioglu. Bringing on the power now, pushing the front end down to stop this motorcycle from wheeling. Hard on the brakes, we'll go for turn 5. A bit out of shape once more, downshifting a little bit too much there. I am kind of guilty of doing that a little bit too often, pushing down too many times on the circle button and getting the bike screaming a little bit too much. But once again, keeping it nice and tight to the apex, probably a little bit over tight there, as we were practically riding the rumble strip as we now go to the left-hand side for turn 8. Turn 9 is upon us now, and I've got to say, this has been a tough lap. A few mistakes here and there, but I do see potential with the medium front and medium rear, so we've just got to keep on pushing and see what can happen. Now onto the right hand side, much more confident into the Schwantz corner with the front medium, way better than the soft. Didn't feel like I could get it stopped with the soft, it felt like it was just too spongy, but the medium, that's a good combination. I'm liking this one so far. We are closing in all the time now on the Ghost, a bit too tight to the apex for turn 12. Mentioned it on a previous lap time that it's so easy to invalidate it there, and we've just done it right on cue as we now go on the left hand side. Once again, more confident with the medium front. Now ahead of the Ghost. Yes, this lap's going to be invalidated, but it's still going to be a good indication of what's to come as we now get across the line. Let's see what the final lap is going to be, or maybe final couple of laps, depending on how well we do. So the previous lap, 153.204. We're getting closer and closer to the next increment of second. The high 152s are beckoning us right now as we go to the left-hand side, neck and neck with the Ghost. You can see that sort of transparent sort of windshield there that we can try and outbrake going into the left-hander. You see us literally braking on top of the Ghost there. So in tune with our previous lap time. Now onto the right hand side, keeping it tight to the apex, dropping it to first gear, and then quickly increasing the gears to make sure we don't get that wheelie, but I'm still trying to avoid the wheelie as much as I possibly can. Braking very firm now for turn 5, braking it like Marquez once again as we bring on the power, keep it a little bit wide, bring it in nice and tight, drop it to the first gear, and then chuck it to the left hand side. Holding it in the first gear, slow. I didn't really like the way we entered that corner. Probably should have gone tighter on the apex there, but unfortunately lost a little bit of time. Down by 0.2 of a second Now onto the right hand side for turn 9, keeping it nice and tight, waiting for that moment to just fire on the acceleration. Oh, losing a bit too much time. Is this not going to be enough? I still think we can gain time from the Kevin Schwantz corner onwards, up into Horsepower Hill. If we get the acceleration correct, we could be well ahead of the Ghost. So here we go, and then braking very firm for the left-hander into turn 11, keeping it tight to the apex, running the left boot and left knee pad onto the rumble strip. It's doing the same for the opposite side for the right-hander, and now bringing on the power without a wheelie. Can we keep the front end down? We do! Up by 0.2 of a second, braking firm for the penultimate corner of Horizon. This could be it. Is this going to be a 152 high? This very well could be. Onto the right hand side for 14, acceleration is being applied dramatically. Don't touch the rumble strip, we could lose a little bit of time. Across the line we'll go. Oh, not quite. A 153.032. So before we check out the leaderboards, let's take a look at what we have produced in this session. 8 laps here in the Autodrome of Brno. Pretty decent performance in my opinion, but I can't help to see that ideal lap was a 152.859. Still a good lap of a 153 nonetheless. But looking at the leaderboards, and I've got to be honest with you guys, I am proud of that. A top 10, a top 8, could have been a top 5 if we had the ideal lap, but honestly, being the top Yamaha in this list is awesome. And if you guys want to tackle this challenge and certainly check it out for yourselves, let me know how you get on in the comment section down below, and stay subscribed for a lot more DrAce content. Thanks for watching guys, and ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite set your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.